So I'm here with Simon Cohen, founder, CEO of Cohen Handler, my boss. Here to talk the top end of town. There's one name that's synonymous with Sydney real estate luxury market, and that's yours. I guess the first question is, how did you get to that point?
I think when I decided I wanted to be in real estate, I decided that's just where I wanted to be.
Yep.
And I was very fortunate that the first deal I ever did was a really big deal. And I realized an incredible lesson from a young age. And that was that it doesn't matter how old you are or where you're from. If you do the things you need to do, you can deal in or dabble in any market in which you want to.
Yep.
And so that's the market I wanted to dabble in.
So what were we talking? $2 million first deal?
No,
first
back
big deal?
then, this was when I was...
I'm joking, by the way, of course it's more than that.
Back then, this was almost 20 years ago. It was $9.8 million.
What's that worth today, you reckon?
$40 million.
Jeez, wow.
For relativity.
We've been doing this a long time.
Long time.
How long for you?
As a buyer's agent, 15 years. As a real estate agent, 5 years. So 20 years.
13 as a buyer's agent.
I know,
crazy.
I look incredibly
I know,
youthful,
it's like people are surprised when I tell them. They're always like, no, surely not.
27?
Yeah. We know your experience, but you look, anyway. So that first deal, would it say it kind of catapulted you into the luxury market? Was it no looking back, or was it something that you've had to work at to kind of stay the person at that top end?
It definitely didn't catapult me there. I was 21, I was working for someone, but what it did give me was the confidence that I could work in any market I wanted. It's taken me 20 years to
be known as a person,
build up the reputation, the database, the trust of the clientele I have today.
Understood. How different would you say a deal at a $60 million price point is to a $15 million or a $10 million or a $2 million deal?
I think for me, the biggest difference is the amount of money I can save my client. And the sheer size and risk of the transaction on the table.
Would you say it's proportional to the price point?
I would say, someone spending $60 million, you want to really make sure that they're buying the ultimate property. The stamp duty is large on that. Right? The potential saving is really large on that. And so I would say the difference is, not only the saving, but really making sure that is the absolute ultimate property and that it stacks up.
And how easy is it to know that it's the ultimate property for you, because you've seen most of these properties, you've been through a lot of them? Or is it, and it's more, a lot of the times that I'm working with clients, something I've realized recently, it's that we give them the confidence to buy that property at that time because they've seen everything else, right? And that's something I've never really taken too much of a notice of until recently. Is that the case for you?
Yeah, look, I think the case for me is, I think clients come to us because we're experts in what we do. It's the same reason they go to a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant. It's the exact same reason I wouldn't do my own accounting. Well, I'd probably get arrested by the taxation office. But I know every property that exists in that price range, right? And so it's my job to also guide and to a point advise them that this is, if you want 3,000 square meters, this is one of 5 houses, right? Now let's dissect the other 4. If you want a waterfront in Point Piper facing the bridge and you want level land, not a steep topography, this is one of how many houses? And so it's there to sort of break down everything else that could possibly exist so then we can know if this is the right one.
Fantastic. What's been your most difficult transaction? Can you talk about it, or and why?
I don't know if I can talk about anyone in particular. I think what makes transactions difficult is when you deal with owners and they set a price and then they keep moving the goalposts.
So that's a really good point. I find that's often the case with pure off-market properties? And would you say like the vast majority of what you're purchasing is an off-market deal?
I'd say 80% plus of what I buy is off-market, but I'd say I don't find that often. I'd say I find that rarely, and when it does happen, it's incredibly frustrating. And so
moving the goalposts.
I think that's probably the most difficult part of it. And I think also when you're dealing at this end of town, you know, you've got incredibly savvy sellers and incredibly savvy buyers. And like with anything, there's egos involved, and it's navigating and dealing with those egos that, for me, I find it exciting, but it is challenging.
Would you say there's a lot of people that like their privacy at this price point?
Absolutely, privacy is imperative.
Yeah. Your predictions for the luxury market, kind of short term, long term, what would you see kind of happening?
I'd love to see it crash because I love the deal. But, you know, we do have something in Sydney, especially in the eastern suburbs, which is a supply and demand model, and they're not making any more waterfronts or estates. So I don't see the market crashing by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not sure it's going to triple the way a lot of owners think it's going to, but it definitely is a safe place to put your money.
So tell us about a favorite deal of yours and why.
Typically, my favorite deals are the hardest deals because I love a challenge. But I'd be lying if I didn't say my two favorite deals. Oh, there's a few.
I reckon we're working on right now.
I'm going to give you three. I'm going to say that first deal for 9.8 because it gave me the confidence for the rest of my career. The second would be a property I bought, which was my very first waterfront deal ever. 1,700 square meter waterfront in Coolong Road. I bought a lot of waterfronts now, but that was my first, and that was like a big goal for me. I was in a nightclub in Las Vegas. The agent was on a yacht in Greece when the exchange happened, and I just remember like being in a corner, like getting it wrapped up. And I'd say my third favorite was one I did last year for 80 million in Bellevue Hill.
What a house.
Because it was, without question, one of my favorite houses. But then also we got to put the owner into her next dream house. And so that sort of follow-on effect I love being a part of also.
How do you find, like it's so easy to fall in love with homes, right? We both love property. Kind of separating that from the transaction. We're professional, we're unemotional, but at the same time, there's some, like you see some crazy, beautiful homes.
I don't hold back telling my clients if I love a house or not. Like I'm very vocal about it. But I will tell you that unfortunately, I have seen so many houses that I am somewhat ruined, and I don't fall in love that easily.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It takes a lot for me to love something.
Well, Michael Pallier told me once, nothing increases value like ownership.
Well,
and I think
it's true.
I do it with my own home. I think it's worth way more than it actually is in my head, just because I've lived in it and I've loved it.
A vendor's expectation is the highest valuation you'll ever get.
Yeah, exactly. So navigating that, how do you find, what are some kind of tricks that you use over time? Facts.
You sit down with the owner and you go through facts. The fact is the land's worth X, the build's worth Y, this is the value of the property. The fact is next door sold for $30 million. It had a much better view. How can yours be worth $35 million, right? The fact is we're going to look at 5 other properties that compare to this tomorrow. So if you just give them facts, for me, you can't argue with facts. And you know that. You've known me a long time.
Absolutely.
I like to deal in facts and that's it.
I find it's also a lot of the time you're giving the agent the ammunition to go and present these facts. We're often not talking directly to the vendors. And a lot of the time, they can't argue with facts. It's a good point.
All right, well, thanks for having me, Penny.
It's been my pleasure.
And we're working on a $50 to $80 million deal as we speak. So hopefully we'll be talking about that in our next chat.
I can't wait. That'll be lovely. Well, good luck on the deal.
Thank you. You too.
That's weird. Sorry.
I reckon it should end like that. Okay.
Thanks, man. That's awesome.
Good.
See you later.